You know, can you tell me from where we create all these BDS datasets or ADSL when it comes with the ADSL? From where we create all these datasets? CDISC datasets, right? So that means for all the ADaM datasets, what are the source datasets? The source data is SGDM. That means you will not have anything extra data. What and all the data that we have in SGDM, from that only we are going to create ADaM. So if you are doing the same thing, then what is the point in creating extra ADaM? Why can't we use directly only SGDM? Now, depends upon our analysis requirement. Sorry. Say for example, I'm going to create from the LV data set, I'm going to create ADLV. Okay? And of course, to create ADLV, yes, we should have LV and we should have ADSL both. And again, if you have ADSL plus LV is equal to ADLV, then what is the point of? You can use directly LV, and like in the ADSL again, what we are going to have? We are going to have a DM or a DS or EX. We are going to have again same SGDM data set. In that scenario, what is the point of creating ADLV or any ADaM data set? Now, to do that one, that means in ADaM data sets, whatever the SGDM data that we have, we are going to have that SGDM data, plus we are going to derive some new data. We are going to derive the data. From where we are going to derive the data? This data also we are going to derive from SGDM only. So whatever the data we are going to have in ADaM data sets, now we can divide into two parts. One is observed data and the second one is derived data. Then what do you mean by observed data? Observed data is nothing but the data that we are getting directly from SGDM data sets. Then what is the derived data? Derived data means that is the newly we are going to derive during ADaM dataset creation. Okay? If I am creating a new columns or new rows during ADaM creation, then that is called as a derived data. Now, why we should derive the data? Based on the future requirement, future analysis requirement. If you are adding some extra data, and that is called as a derived data. What do you mean by deriving? So we are going to derive, we are going to add new variables, or we are going to derive new variables, and sometimes we are going to derive new observations. So that means if in the LV domain, say for example, if you have 50 variables, am I going to have the same 50 variables in ADLV? Along with these variables, we are going to have some, extra new variables. We are going to have some extra new variables. And in SGDM, in a LV data set, I have 10,000 observations. Are we going to have the same 10,000 observations in ADLV? No. To this 10,000 observations, I'm going to add some extra new observations. So that means during the ADaM dataset creation, I'm going to add new variables and new observations. Now the question is, when we should add a new variable, when we should create a new variable, and when we should create or when we should add a new observation. Now to explain this one, ADaMIC guidelines as proposing as 6 important rules. By using those 6 important rules, by reading that we can understand when we should add a new variable and when we should add a new observation. Out of 6 rules, only one rule will tell us when, how to add a new variable, when we should add a new variable, and the remaining 5 rules out of 6 will explain when we should add a new record or a new observation. In today's class, we are going to see all the 6 rules of adding variables and observations. So very, very important. If you understand this concept, the ADaMS is going to be easy and you can easily clear that interview. Okay, everybody clear? Now, I'm going to explain the 6 rules. Creation of derived columns, which is nothing but derived variables, versus creation of derived rows, which is nothing but observations. But before moving into that, we should understand, BDS. Why we are creating BDS data set? The BDS data we are creating for analysis purpose. So whatever the BDS we are creating, it should be analysis focused. The main purpose of the BDS creation is analysis. And the second one is, it is going to have, the BDS is going to have analysis enabling variables. It is going to have the supporting variables in a predictive structure. So that means that BDS data also is going to have most of the times a standard structure. The standard structure is going to be very basic structure. And now, so in the standard structure, we are going to have 2 types of variables. One is analysis enabling, and the second one we are going to have, supportive variables. And the third one is the rows in the BDS represent subject data for analysis parameters and time points. There may be multiple rows within a given combination of subject, parameter, and time points, and based on definitions, we go to see that. And if you say any data set is a BDS data set, it is going to have the following variables. The first one is the values being which is analyzed, and the data analysis that information we are going to have in a variable called eval and eval-c. I told you eval is nothing but LBSTRES and a findings data set. But if you have a character test results, that information we are going to have in eval-c, which is nothing but LBSTRESC. And then we are going to have a parameter variable. You know how we create a parameter variable? LB test or any findings test plus STRESU. And then we are going to have identifiers like study ID, subject ID, use subject ID like that one. We are going to have a very important variable called D type. I will tell you how to derive that one, what values we are going to have. And then we are going to have supporting variables like covariates and treatment variables. I will tell you what you mean by covariate later. And of course, we are going to have traceability variables. I told you the most important coreness of that ADaM is in traceability. And along with that, we are going to have a population and record flags.
Hello, sir. Devi is waiting, sir. Actually, she's asking.
Sorry. Whenever you want to create a BDS data set, first what we should do, we should start creating an initial source data set. And I told you, the source data set we can create from any findings main data set plus its supplementary. And what we are going to retranspose the supplementary back, and then we are going to merge that one with the findings main data set. And that's how we are going to create a source data set. Then once you create the source data set, then we are going to create a param CD. Then we are going to create eval-c. And whatever the visit that we have, we are going to change that as an analysis visit. And of course, we are going to have a study ID, use subject ID, subject ID, and site ID. Then we should have a sequence variable. So first of all, we should create all the important necessary variables that what we can create. Okay, once we have done this one, then we are going to add somebody's no, who is that user smiley? What, you want to say something? No. After once you created the primary preliminary thing, now we need to add new data. Now, as I said, in ADaM we are going to have 2 types of columns and rows. The first one, observed columns and rows, which is directly we have copied from the SGD and the other ADaM data sets. Apart from that, we are going to have a derived variables and observation. That means during the ADaM dataset creation, I'm going to create these variables and these observations now. That's why this is called derived data. So we are going to have two types of data in BDS datasets. When we should add a variable, when we should add an observation. That is the most important question. The first rule is a parameter invariant function of eval and a base on the same row that does not involve a transform of base should be added as a new column. Read the rule again. A parameter invariant function of eval and a base on the same row that does not involve a transform of base should be added as a new column. What does it mean? We'll see an example so that you can easily understand. Okay? And the rule is going to be a little bit complicated to understand. We'll see an example so that you can easily understand that. Now, I'm going back here. Now, I'm creating a param variable. Do you know how we create a param variable, by the way? By concatenating test and STRSU, right? Now, glucose, I'm writing, say, for example, μg per deciliter. This is one parameter. And the second parameter, I'm trying to say, for example, serum creatinine, and say, for example, blood urea, say, for example, again, μg per deciliter or something. Then I'm having hemoglobin, maybe micromilligrams or something. And then I have, say, for example, cholesterol, we have an albumin, we have alkaline phosphatase. I'm not writing here units. We should write the units also. Then this is called a parameter. Now, when we have a parameter, the value of that parameter is going to be which variable? Eval. In the eval variable, we are going to have some numerical value like this one. We are going to have some values like this one, right? Now, say for example, if a given subject has 6 observations for glucose parameter like this one, okay, like this one, and I have a 234, 224, 214, and 201, and I have, say for example, 190, and then I have, say for example, 176 like this one. And again, this same person is also having a creatinine. For creatinine also, we have 5 observations like this one. Few observations, multiple observations. And he has got, say for example, 41, then he has got 39, and then he has got, say for example, 33, and then 25, and then, say for example, 23. In this way, the same subject has got multiple parameters. Each parameter has got multiple records. Now, say for example, now I have a variable called BLFL, and in the BLFL, this record has got BLFL is equal to y. Remember I told you how we create a base variable? What the base variable is going to have, which value is going to have the base variable? It is going to have a 234.
224.
And we are going to have 224 here also. And here also we are going to have a 224. And here also what we are going to have now? 224. And here also what we are going to have? 224. Right? Now. And for creatine, this observation has got a baseline value by BLFL is equal to y. Now then how we are going to have a baseline now? Here we are going to have a 41, then we are going to have a 41, and then here we are going to have a 41, and then here we are going to have a 41, and so on and so on. Now, I want to create a now change. Do you know what is the formula for change? Eval minus base, right? Now, if it is a parameter is a glucose, or the parameter is a creatinine, or the parameter is a urea, or the parameter is hemoglobin, whatever the parameter it might be, what is the formula for change? The formula for change is always eval minus base. Now, if the function is parameter invariant, now tell me, change is a parameter invariant, right? if the function is parameter invariant, and if you're not transforming the eval value and the base value which is present in the same record, in the scenario, please create a column instead of a row. What we should do? We should create a column. Column means a variable. So that means if you are using the same function irrespective of the parameters, if there is no transformation of eval value and the base value, if you are taking as it is the same values that what you have collected, in the scenario, create a variable. Understand this example? No. I will go over here and I will give another example. Now, can you see whatever the example that I have given, is it satisfying all the three rules or not? The first rule is the function is of eval and base on the same row. So change is equal to eval minus base, or we have both the values in the same observation? Yes, isn't it? So for 190 minus 224, 180 minus 224. Now where we have this 190 and 224 right now, we have the same on the same row. If the function is parameter invariant, am I using the same eval minus base for all the parameters?
Yes, sir.
I'm using the same function. Third one, if the function does not involve a transformer, are we changing the base value? No. Whatever the BLFL is equal to y, whenever we have a BLFL is equal to y, whatever the eval value that we have, I'm taking the same value as a base for the parameter. If you are satisfying these three rules, then go with a new column. Now I will show an example. Here I have an example data set for vital signs. But can you see what is the parameter that we have here? Weight in kilograms. And what is the parameter CD that we have? Param CD. Which is nothing but LB test CD. BS test CD. Then we have an analysis widget. With nothing but the widget has been changed as an analysis widget. Now can you see this so-and-so subject has got 6 records for weight in kilograms. Okay. Out of 6 records, which record has got the base cell value? Base BLFL is equal to what?
100.
Third record, right? In the third, why is the BLFL is equal to y? Because it's a base 10 record. Okay. Now, when we have a base 10, BLFL is equal to y, what is the eval value that we have? 100. Now, this 100 now is going to have a base variable value. I told you how we are going to derive a base. When ABLFL is equal to y, whatever the eval value that we have, that will become base value for that parameter. Now I mapped that 100 as a base for weight in kilograms. Now I'm creating it. Now here we have for weight or pulse rate, I'm using a same formula, that means parameter invariant, and the base value and eval value both are on the same row, and I'm not transforming the base value. Since we are satisfying all the three rules, now I'm creating a new variable. Change is equal to eval minus 4, base 94 minus 100 minus 6, 92 minus 100 minus 8, 95 minus 100 minus 5. Even for pulse rate also, we are using the same function, change is equal to eval minus base. So whether it's a weight in kilograms or pulse rate or systolic or diastolic, whatever it might be, if you are using the same function, then create a new variable. Understand this one? Irrespective of the parameter, if any example, any parameters are 2 parameters. What are the 2 parameters that we have? Weight in kilograms is one parameter. Pulse rate is ppm is the second parameter. Now, coming to the weight in kilograms parameter, what is the change? How we can calculate the change? To calculate the change, first of all, we should create a base variable. How we going to create a base variable? In whichever observation, BLFL is equal to y. In that observation, whatever the eval value that we have, that we are going to populate as a base variable. Now, since in the third record, we have a BLFL is equal to y, now when we have a BLFL is equal to y, whatever the eval value 100 that we have, I am going to populate that as a base variable. Okay? Now, I want to find out what is the change. Change ఇప్పుడు నేను వేరియబుల్ క్రియేట్ చేయాలా లేకపోతే కనుక రో క్రియేట్ చేయాలని అడిగారు అనుకోండి. If you have a doubt, how to create a change? Do we need to create a variable or an observation? Now we have the three rules. If you are using a function, irrespective of the parameter, that means if it is a parameter invariant, you know what you mean by parameter invariant? Whatever the parameter, if you are using the same function. By the way, what is the function for change? Eval minus. So, at the weight in kilograms, pulse rate in BPM, always change is equal to eval minus base. And the second one is, while calculating the change, do we have eval value and base value on the same row or not? We have on the same row, right? 94 minus 100, 92, 100, 95, 100, we have on the same row. And third one is, did you change the base value? Did you transform the base value, or you are taking as it is eval value as a base? No, I'm taking as it is whatever the BLFL is equal to. Whenever we have a BLFL is equal to y, whatever the eval value that we have, I'm taking the same value. I didn't transform it. If three rules are satisfied, what should I do? I should go with a new variable. Understand this one? Is this clear, everybody? Now I'll go with the second rule. If you are not satisfying the first three rules, then you should go with the second rule. Now, what is the second rule? A transformation of eval that does not meet the conditions of rule. అంటే ఒకసారి మళ్ళీ బ్యాక్ వస్తున్నా చూడండి. ఇవి eval values. ఇవి exactly what and all we have collected in SDDM, the same values. There is no transformation. But if you did any transformation, since you are not satisfying the first rule, then you should go with the second rule. If there is a transformation eval value that does not meet the condition of rule 1, should be added as a new parameter. And eval should contain a transformed value. Yes, little bit confusing. I will show an example so that then you can understand. Okay? Now, this is the example that we have. Here we have a parameter called weight in kilograms. This is what exactly we collected from SDDM. Okay? Now the sponsor is asking, no, I want to have log 10 of weight in kilograms also. SDDM లో ఓన్లీ weight in kilograms డేటా కలెక్ట్ చేశాను. కానీ ఇప్పుడు స్పాన్సర్ ఏమంటున్నాడు, నాకు log 10 of weight in kilograms కూడా కావాలి అన్నాడు. Then what should I do in this scenario? Should I go with a new should I create a new variable or a new observation?
New observation.
నేను న్యూ వేరియబుల్ క్రియేట్ చేశాను అనుకోండి. ఒకసారి చూడండి, నాకు ఇక్కడ నేను డేటా కలెక్ట్ చేశాను weight in kilograms, right? Now how many observations we have? 6 observations. ఇప్పుడు స్పాన్సర్ ఏమన్నాడంటే log 10 of weight in kilograms కావాలన్నాడు. మరి log 10 of weight in kilograms అంటే ఏం లేదండి, eval value ఎంత ఉందండి అక్కడ weight ఫస్ట్ అబ్జర్వేషన్. వాట్ ఇస్ ద eval value ఇన్ ద ఫస్ట్ అబ్జర్వేషన్? 99. సెకండ్ అబ్జర్వేషన్ 101. మరి ఇప్పుడు దీనికి log 10 వాల్యూ కావాలనుకోండి, log 10 of 99 కావాలి. మరి ఇప్పుడు నేను కొత్త వేరియబుల్ క్రియేట్ చేయొచ్చు కదా ఇక్కడ. అండర్స్టాండ్ వాట్ ఐఎమ్ సేయింగ్? Say for example, I'll go over again here in this example. Here, okay. Say in this example, now the sponsor is asking, I want to have a glucose, log 10 of glucose. మరి log 10 of glucose అన్నప్పుడు నేను ఇలా రాయొచ్చు కదా, log 10 of glucose ఇలా ఒక వేరియబుల్ క్రియేట్ చేసి, సే ఫర్ యాక్చువల్ గ్లూకోజ్ వాల్యూ 224 ఉంది కదా ఇక్కడ, 224 కి log 10 వాల్యూ సే ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ 12 వచ్చింది అనుకో. 214 కి సే ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ 10.9 ఉంది అనుకోండి. ఓకే, ఆర్ 201 ఉన్నప్పుడు 10.7 ఏదో ఉందనుకో. Now, what I'm doing here, I'm creating a new variable or new observation.
Variable.
Why can't I create a variable? కానీ ఇప్పుడు ఇలా వేరియబుల్ క్రియేట్ చేశాను నాకు స్పాన్సర్ ఏం కావాలి లాగ్ టర్మ్ ఏ పారామీటర్ కావాలన్నాడు
Weight parameter.
Say in this example glucose, okay? బట్ ఇప్పుడు నేను ఇలా వేరియబుల్ క్రియేట్ చేశాను అనుకోండి ఇప్పుడు ఏమవుతుంది ఈ వేరియబుల్ ఎవరు క్రియేట్ అవుతుంది ఓన్లీ గ్లూకోజ్ ఒకటికి క్రియేట్ అవుతుంది క్రియాటిన్ కూడా క్రియేట్ అయిపోతుందా
Creatinine
కూడా క్రియేట్ అయిపోతుంది బట్ ఐ డు నాట్ వాంట్ టు హ్యావ్ లాగ్ టర్మ్ ఫర్ క్రియాటిన్ I want to have log 10 only for glucose. Understand? So that means what I'm doing, I'm transferring the eval value from normal 224 into log 10 value. In that scenario, since you are transforming, don't create a new variable. Create new set of observation. అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడ ఈ సినారియోలో 6 glucose observations ఉన్నాయి కాబట్టి create one more 6 glucose observations and now create a new parameter like this one log 10 of glucose and now don't create a new variable but create a new set of observations or new set of rows if you are transforming eval value of any parameter. Understand this one? ఎందుకంటే నేను రోస్ క్రియేట్ చేశాను అనుకోండి నాకు ఒక సెట్ క్రియేట్ అవుతుంది అదే వేరియబుల్ క్రియేట్ చేశాను అనుకోండి అది క్రియాటిన్ క్రియేట్ అయిపోతుందండి యూరియాకి క్రియేట్ అవుతుంది హిమోగ్లోబిన్కి క్రియేట్ అవుతుంది ఇట్స్ గోయింగ్ టు క్రియేట్ ఫర్ ఎవ్రీ పారామీటర్ బట్ ఐ డు నాట్ వాంట్ టు హ్యావ్ ఫర్ ఆల్ సో ఐ వాంట్ టు హ్యావ్ ఇట్ ఫర్ ఓన్లీ వన్ ఐ వాంట్ టు ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ ఓన్లీ వన్ పారామీటర్ సో ఇన్ దిస్ సినారియో గో విత్ న్యూ సెట్ ఆఫ్ అబ్జర్వేషన్స్ నౌ హియర్ ఐ హ్యావ్ 6 observations weight in kilogram now I want to have log 10 of weight in kilogram so that's why now can you see now I'm creating a new set of observations. And what is the parameter now I'm creating? Can you see this one? Log 10 of weight in kilogram. From where I'm deriving this one? This 7th record, I'm deriving from the first record. From the first record. If the eval value is 99, the log 10 of eval is 99 is 1.9956. The log 10 of 101 is 2.00. The log 10 of 100 is 2. The log 10 of 94 is 1.97. So, how many observations I have for weight in kilograms? Those many new observations I will create. But in these observations, I'm going to have a log 10 of eval value. That means I'm transforming the eval value. So I will go with you should go with a new set of observations. Understand? Clear this one?
Sure.
And now, one very important question that you are going to get is, what is the param type variable? What values you can have in that variable? Now I have a new variable called param type. In the param type, we are going to have value when you are newly deriving an observation during ADaM data set. చెప్పండి ఇప్పుడు నా దగ్గర 2 పారామీటర్స్ ఉన్నాయి కదా weight in kilograms, log 10 weight in kilograms. Which one we got it from SGDM and which one we newly created now?
Weight in kilograms and
Log 10 of 80 kilograms, right? Now, for those records, param type is going to be derived because we derived these records during ADaM data creation. And the observations which we got, the rows which we got directly from SGDM, we are going to have missing value for param type. Now in the interview, they are going to ask you a question, what is the param type variable? Then we will have a values in param type. Param type, we will have only one kind of value derived or missing. When we are going to have it derived, if you derive a new record during ADaM dataset creation, then param type is derived. That means you derive a new parameter. Otherwise, we are going to have a missing value. What do you mean a missing value? That means it is just a copy of SGDM. We didn't derive that parameter. Understand this one? ఏం లేదండి నేను ఇక్కడ వేరియబుల్ క్రియేట్ చేశాను అనుకోండి ఆ లాగ్ 10 ఎవరు క్రియేట్ అవుతుందండి weight కి క్రియేట్ అయిపోతుంది వైటల్ సైన్స్ కాబట్టి హైట్ కి క్రియేట్ అయిపోతుంది టెంపరేచర్ కి క్రియేట్ అయిపోతుంది పల్స్ రేట్ కి క్రియేట్ అన్నిటికీ క్రియేట్ అయిపోతుందండి మరి నాకు అలా వద్దు నాకు ఎవరు కావాలి లాగ్ 10 ఓన్లీ weight కి కావాలి న్యూ రో క్రియేట్ చేయాలి ఆ రోస్ కూడా ఎన్ని క్రియేట్ చేయాలి, ఎన్ని వెయిట్ అబ్జర్వేషన్స్ ఉంటే అన్ని లాగ్ 10 వేస్ క్రియేట్ చేయాలి. Understand this one?
Okay.
Now, I have one more example here. You know, when I collected the data, I collected LDL cholesterol in mg per deciliter. Okay, LDL cholesterol mg per deciliter. Now, sponsor is asking, I want to have the same report, but this time I want to have millimole per liter. So the same parameter, but he wants to have different units. But I collected only mg per deciliter. For which one I want to have, millimole per liter? For only LDL cholesterol, not for other parameters, not for serum creatinine, not for hemoglobin. So that means in that scenario, what should I do? Should I go with a new variable or new observation? అంటే ఇక్కడ ఏం లేదు, ఏదైతే నాకు ఎవాల్ వాల్యూ 206.3 ఉందో దీని ఏం చేయాలండి, ఇప్పుడు ఇది mg per deciliter లో ఉంది. నౌ ఐ షుడ్ కన్వర్ట్ దట్ ఇంటూ millimole per liter, right? So that means I'm transforming the eval value. So since you're transforming eval, don't go with the variable, create a new set of observations. Understand this one? Now I have a 7 observations for LDL cholesterol. I'm going to create again 7 observations. Now in these 7 observations, now can you say this 8th record is equal to first record? But first record we have an LDL cholesterol in mg per deciliter. Now this 8th record, that means 206.3. If you convert into millimole per liter, now the value is 5.3349. I'll show you a program how we can create a new set of records which is equal to the original records. Understand this one, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Now, third rule. A function of one or more rows within the same parameter for the purpose of creating an analysis time point should be added as a new row for the same parameter. Of course, the definition looks very complex. If you say example, so that easily you can understand. A function of one or more rows within the same parameter for the purpose of creating an analysis time point should be added as a new row for the same parameter. I will show you an example so that you can easily understand. Now, in this example, I have 7 observations for weight in kilograms. Actually, we have only 6 observations for weight in kilogram. Okay, and the first one is screening, second one is running, third one is baseline, next week 24, week 48, week 52. Okay, now the sponsor is asking, tell me how many post baseline that we have in this 6 observations. How many post baseline observations we have? 3. Week 24, week 48, week 52. Now what sponsor is asking, I do not want to do analysis for individual observations. Get the average of all the post baseline and keep that average value in a new record. Understand what I'm saying? Post baseline 3 observations ఉన్నాయి. First value 94, week 48 value 92, week 52 value 95. వీటితో పాటు స్పాన్సర్ ఏమంటున్నాడంటే పోస్ట్ ట్రీట్మెంట్ ఏవైతే అబ్జర్వేషన్ ఉన్నాయో get an average of all the post baseline, keep that in a new record, and that I want to have it as an endpoint record. So that means what I'm going to do now in this scenario, create a new row, new observation. అంటే ఈ 4th, 5th, 6th records ఏవైతే ఉన్నాయో వీటిని average 94 plus 92 plus 95 by 3. That average value is 93.5. With that average, am I creating a new variable or new observation? New variable.
New observation.
Sorry, new observation. Okay. So, what is the rule it is suggesting now? Can you say these 3 observations belong to which parameter? The same parameter, right? Weight in kilograms. Now, within a parameter, if you're creating an analysis time point by taking average of the records are within the same parameter. Now see, now a function of one or more rows within the same parameter, week 48, week 52, 64, all these rows comes up within the same parameter. For the purpose of creating analysis time point, ఏం చేస్తాను ఇప్పుడు నాకు యావరేజ్ కావాలి, ఒక అనాలిసిస్ ఎండ్ పాయింట్ క్రియేట్ చేస్తున్నాను. If you are doing in that way, create a new row, don't go with a new variable. Understand this one? Now, can you see here, we have a new variable called dtype, very, very important variable. Derived type. So dtype is going to tell you two important things. If you have a value in dtype, what does it mean? That means you derived this observation during ADaM, and the second one is how you derived this one. It will show you the algorithm or the method that you use. What is the algorithm or method that you use to derive this observation? We have taken average or the mean value of post baseline, isn't it? 94 plus 92 plus 95 divided by 3. Now, bro, what is dtype? And can you explain this? Dtype, sorry. Dtype is nothing but a derivation type. This variable value, it will tell you two important things. If you have value in dtype, that means you derived this observation during ADaM dataset, and it will also tell you what method that we used to derive this observation. We are going to have average, LOCF, WOCF, BOCF. We are going to have too many keywords. In this example, we have an average. Now, in the same way, for log graph 8, we have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 6 observations. Now, again, from the post baseline, we have 1.9, 1.96, 1.97. From this, I created a new endpoint. So, I added new observation. But why we have param type is equal derived for this one? Remember, I explained in the previous example?
Yes.
When we are going to have a param type, what param type is going to be? When we have derived or derived from this detail. Understand this one? Now, I will show you one more example here. Now, in this example, we have vital signs information. We have parameter systolic blood pressure in mmHg. There is a subject. This subject is absent for 8th visit. Okay, he was absent for week 8. Since he is absent, we do not have any information for week 8. Okay. Now what we should do? Now the sponsor is asking, since he is absent in the week 8, get the previous visit information. What is the previous visit for week 8? Most recent one?
Week 4.
Week 4.
4.
In that scenario, I told you, remember during the base classes, I told you, if you are doing that one, if you are getting the previous record value into current observation, we call it as a last observation carry forward.
Yeah.
Now the sponsor is asking, don't keep not only the previous record value, and keep the worst case possible scenario. Now since he is absent in the week 8, now I am incorporating 2 new observations. 7th and 8th are new observations I am keeping. In the first observation, what I kept now, I kept the previous eval value, which is 122 here also. So now what is the method I follow now? LOCF. That means last observation carry forward. Now, at the same time, the sponsor is asking, in the previous observations, what is the worst case that we have? Keep that also. Don't keep not only the previous one, keep the worst case also. And what is the worst case value that we have here? In the previous values, 126. Understand this one? This 126 is an unscheduled 4.1 visit. Now with that, I'm going to create one more observation now. Can you see? 126 I populated here. And what method I followed here? WOCF. What is the WOCF? Worst observation carry forward. So when we have a missing value for one visit, now the sponsor is asking, create new observation, 2 observations. One is LOCF, last observation, and keep along with that, keep the worst possible case also. In this scenario also, go with an observation, go with a row, not with a column. Understand this one, everybody? Everybody clear with this one? Now you'll get a question, what type of values that we get in D type pattern? A type, if the K values have D type, no? Average or mean, LOCF and WOCF. Then they will ask you, what is LOCF? What is WOCF? Anybody any doubts so far? Do you want to explain any again, or do you want me to go to next example? Can you go to the next example? Can you go to the next one?
Sir, last one ఉంది కదా దాంట్లో త్రీ అబ్జర్వేషన్స్ కొరకు మనం తీసుకున్నాం కదా ఆ రో. సో ఆ రో మొత్తానికి అనుకుంటాం కానీ ఆ 3 అబ్జర్వేషన్ అని చెప్పి మనకి అల్గారిథం ఉంటుందా?
3 observation and post baseline.
అవును సార్.
No, in the specification they will let you know. Now, how many observations you should create? Post baseline, లేకపోతే కనుక all the values same parameter అన్ని values నుంచి create చేయాలి, they will tell you.
ఓకే.
Then we have one more example. Again I have what is this called? This is a questionnaire data set. We have information about the migraine pain. Okay. Here we have, in a day, I collected this information at a pre-dose, 30 minutes after the dose, 1 after the dose. Okay. I should collect 2 hours post-dose also, but unfortunately, I didn't collect that information. Okay, 4 records kavali, pre-dose, 30 minutes post-dose, 1 hour post-dose, and 2 hours post-dose. But unfortunately, I didn't collect 2 hours post-dose. Now the what sponsor is asking, now keep the most recent value, and whatever the value that we have during the baseline, get that value also. So, most recent value oka observation create cheyali, baseline appudu edaithe value undo danto inkoka observation create cheyali. Now, can you tell me 2 hours post dose ki what are the most recent previous observation?
1 hour post dose.
Can you say what are the 1 hour post dose eval value that we have, and what is that eval C that we have? 1 and mild pain. Now 1 and mild pain. Now what is that detail that we have now?
Last observation.
LOCF.
Last observation.
దీంతో పాటు బేసిక్ B level is equal to y అయినప్పుడు ఏదైతే eval C and eval C ఉందో, get that one also. Now when we have AB level is equal to y, what is the eval value? 3. And what is eval C?
Severe pain.
Now with the 3 and severe pain, I am creating one more record. Now we have pool. Sometimes they will ask you to keep worst case scenario, WOCF. Sometimes they will ask you whatever the baseline we have, keep the baseline value also. So to compensate missing value in particular visit, we are going to have previous value plus worst case, or previous case plus baseline value. Sorry. Understand this concept, everybody. Clear, everybody? Now we are discussing, highest degree of macros. Sorry, items. If you understand this one, nothing beyond this one. This is the most important and highest thing that we have. Understand this one? Now, the 4th rule. Sorry, a function of multiple rows within a parameter should be added as a new parameter. Again, reading and understanding the rule will be difficult, but if you see the example, it is going to be easy to understand. Now, I will take a best example, CD4 count. In HIV patients, how we can understand that the survival time, and we can say the survival time of a patient, how long he is going to survive. It depends upon the CD4 count. Okay, if you have better CD4 count, if the patient has got better CD4 count, he is going to alive long time. If the CD4 count is not good, and is going to die in soon. Okay? That is how we decide. We calculate, the survival rate or survivalness of an HIV/AIDS patient. Now, here we have a parameter called CD4. And now, how we derive the CD4 count? With current CD4 test value, by adding that one value to the previous CD4 test value, we create an accumulation variable. By using that accumulation value, we will derive what is that cumulative AUC and area under curve value. Based on that, we will derive the survivalness of patient. So that means in this scenario, the current test value, the current eval value, and by using the previous eval value, we are going to create an accumulation variable. Here, can you see we have two parameters, CD4 cells, millimole, mm cube, and then CD4 cumulative AUC. Now, by using these two, I'm going to create a new parameter, which is CD4 cumulative AUC MB. In this scenario, now we'll go to the rule again. A function of multiple rows within a parameter should be added as a new parameter. Now, within the same parameter, which is a CD4, by taking the current and the previous record values, we are going to create a new parameter. In this case also, what we do, we create a new row. Now, the fifth rule. A function of more than one parameter should be added in new parameter. Function of more than one parameter. అంటే ఒకటి కన్నా ఎక్కువ పారామీటర్స్ బేస్ చేసుకుని we are going to create a new parameter. Say for example, here I have two parameters, total cholesterol mg for deciliter. I have one more parameter, high density lipoprotein cholesterol for mg for deciliter. These two are, we got it from SGT. Okay. Now the response is asking, I want to have a total cholesterol is to high density lipoprotein cholesterol, a new parameter. And then first record, first observation is to 8th observation. So created total cholesterol is to HDL, high density lipoprotein cholesterol ratio. And ఇక్కడ నేను కొత్త పారామీటర్ని ఎలా క్రియేట్ చేస్తాను, ఎక్కడి నుంచి క్రియేట్ చేస్తానండి? From two different parameters. One is the total cholesterol parameter, and second one is high density lipoprotein cholesterol. If you are creating a new parameter from the function of more than one parameter, then create a new record. So now the 15th record is in a ratio of first and 8th, 16th record is in a ratio of second and the 9th record, and 17th record is a ratio of third and 10th record, and so on and so on. So when you're creating a new record, can you see a function of more than one parameter should be added in new. So what is here? A function which is total cholesterol is a function of more than one parameter, which is total cholesterol and high density lipoprotein cholesterol. Understand this one? Then we have a sixth rule. When there is a more than one definition of baseline, each additional definition of baseline requires the creation of its own set of rows. Now, generally, what is a baseline? Do you know what you mean by baseline? What is the definition for a baseline? What is the baseline value? Most recent value?
Missing value of
On or before? Most recent value on or before?
The treatment getting started.
Treatment getting started. Okay? Now, but in this given study, I have here an example. We have 12 records in this example. Sorry. We have 12 records in this example, 1 to 12. We have, here we have what you call it, run-in, stabilization, double-blind, then open label. Now, the response is asking, whatever the visit is a baseline. When we have a baseline, obviously, BLFL is equal to what? Y. I told you, when we have a BLFL is equal to Y, whatever the eval value that we have, this will take it as an A.
Baseline.
Baseline. Now can you see baseline what we have here? 34.5. Because we have 34.5 when we have BLFL is equal to y. With that 34.5, I created base. Now this is the base. The definition for this one here is whenever we have a visit baseline, that eval value take it as a baseline. No, that is the definition we have. Now we have one more definition. The one more second definition is now the sponsor is asking when you starting the double blind, how many epochs that we have? Can you see? Running, stabilization, double blind, and open label. So the sponsor is asking when you started the double blind, whatever the initial value that we have during the double blind, again with that to create one more baseline. And if double blind నుంచి తర్వాత వచ్చే అబ్జర్వేషన్ అన్నిటికీ డబుల్ బ్లైండ్ ఫస్ట్ అబ్జర్వేషన్ ఏదైతే ఉందో దీన్ని మళ్ళీ నేను తీసుకుని బేస్ అని తీసుకుంటాను. చూడండి డబుల్ బ్లైండ్ ఫస్ట్ అబ్జర్వేషన్ ఎవాల్ వాల్యూ ఎంత ఉందో చూడండి. వాట్ ఇస్ ఎవాల్ వాల్యూ దట్ వి హావ్? 13. With the 13.1 now I'm going to create that base. కానీ ఈ 13.1 ఎవరికి బేస్ అని తీసుకోవాలి ఇప్పుడు? I will not take for all the 12 observations. Whatever the observation that we have from the double blind 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now for these 7 observations I'm going to create one more baseline. And now I'm going to get one more set of observations. Now మళ్ళీ ఏమన్నాడంటే ఓపెన్ లేబుల్ స్టార్ట్ అయినప్పుడు whatever the open label, whenever we started the open label, whatever the starting value that we have, which is 19.7, with that create one more baseline. Now from the open label onwards, whatever the left again remaining observations we have, for that I'm going to create a new set of records again. With that new set of records, I'm going to have one more baseline, which is this 19.7. I'm going to populate here. So when we have multiple definitions for baseline, for each baseline, create one set of records. So first, for all the 12 observations, I have taken run-in baseline. During the run-in first, whatever the baseline that we have. Again, we have one more definition. When we have double blind, starting whatever the value that we take, that one also. And when we have a starting at open label, again whatever the value take, that one again is the baseline. So for each definition of baseline, we are going to create a new set of records. Understand this one? So these are the 6 rules that we have in ADaM to create when we should create a new variable and when we should create a new observation. Out of 6 rules, only in the first rule we create a new variable, but in all the remaining 5 occasions, 5 scenarios, we should go with a new set of observations. Okay? Very, very important. If you understand this concept properly, if you understand that examples, now you get an idea what we should do in ADaM, and so that according to that we can write a program to derive a BDS data set. Understand everybody? Did I forward this PPT in WhatsApp? Not yet?
No, sir.
No, sir.
You got other PPTs, right? Did you get other PPTs?
Yes.
And I'm going to share this one also right now. And please go to this one. In tomorrow's class, we are going to start writing the program for BDS data set, ADLB. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay. See you in tomorrow's class. We'll explain one more time and then we'll start writing the code. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
See you tomorrow.